On a bustling city bus, filled with the tired murmurs of the evening commute, a young black boy named Michael found himself in a situation that would soon unfold into an extraordinary tale of kindness, chance, and unexpected rewards. As the bus jostled along the crowded streets, a visibly pregnant woman boarded, her expression a mix of exhaustion and discomfort as she scanned the crowded space for a seat. Noticing her dilemma, Michael instantly stood up, offering his seat with a warm, reassuring smile. The woman, taken aback by his thoughtfulness amidst the sea of indifferent faces, gratefully accepted. As she settled down, Michael grasped the overhead rail, steadying himself against the swaying movements of the bus. The woman introduced herself as Sarah, struck up a conversation with him. She was curious about Michael, who, despite his young age, displayed such maturity and respect. Michael shared snippets of his life, his love for soccer, his dreams of becoming a doctor, and his everyday challenges of balancing school with helping his family. The conversation flowed effortlessly, but as Sarah's stop approached, she handed Michael a business card, urging him to reach out should he ever need anything, a gesture of gratitude that puzzled him at the moment. Little did Michael know, this chance encounter was about to change his life dramatically. Days turned into weeks, and the memory of the bus ride lingered in Michael's mind. On a whim, he decided to contact Sarah, not knowing that the number on the card was not just hers, but also that of her husband, David, a well-known philanthropist and businessman renowned for his contributions to youth programs and scholarships. What happened next was something Michael could never have predicted. David, impressed by the young boy's character and his wife's account of his kindness, decided to meet Michael. This meeting wasn't just a casual one. It was the beginning of a mentorship that would provide Michael with opportunities he had never dared to dream of. As Michael embarks on this new journey, the questions remain. How will this mentorship transform his life? What doors will open for a boy who simply gave up his seat on a bus? Stay tuned as this story unfolds, revealing the powerful impact of a small act of kindness in a world that often overlooks it. The crisp morning air was unlike any other in the bustling city where Michael lived. He had spent countless mornings rushing through these streets, but today was different. Today, he was on his way to meet David, the man who could potentially alter the trajectory of his life. The weight of this meeting pressed on him, a mixture of excitement and nervous anticipation fluttering in his chest. David had arranged to meet at a local community center, a place he often visited to oversee the programs he funded. The center was alive with activity, children and teenagers engaged in various educational and recreational activities. Michael arrived early, his eyes wide with curiosity as he took in his surroundings. He noticed how the place buzzed with energy and optimism, a stark contrast to the often grim atmosphere of his school. As Michael waited, he observed a group of younger kids gathered around a science experiment, their faces lit up with fascination. He smiled, remembering his own curiosity at their age, which was still very much a part of him. This place, he thought, held the kind of opportunities he had always dreamed of, opportunities that seemed so far out of reach until now. David appeared from behind a set of double doors, his presence commanding yet friendly. He greeted Michael with a firm handshake, his eyes kind and assessing. "I've heard a lot about you from Sarah," David began, leading Michael through the center. "She was quite impressed with your manners and how respectfully you treated her. It's rare to see such maturity and kindness these days." As they walked, David shared stories of his own youth, of the challenges and setbacks he faced, and how he overcame them with the help of a mentor. His words resonated with Michael, who saw parallels in his own life, a life marked by similar struggles and the constant pursuit of something better. David then steered the conversation toward Michael's aspirations. "So, tell me about your dream of becoming a doctor. What inspired that?" he asked. Michael's response was heartfelt. He spoke of his community, of seeing friends and family struggle with health issues without proper care, and of his desire to make a real difference. "I want to help people heal," Michael said, "to be part of something bigger than myself." The conversation deepened, with David probing gently about Michael's school life, his interests, and even his fears. The more they talked, the more Michael realized how much he wanted this mentorship, how much he hoped to learn from someone who had navigated such a complex path to success. Meanwhile, Sarah, who had joined them silently, watched the interaction with a pleased expression. She knew the potential this mentorship held for Michael, but she also knew the challenges it could bring. Integrating into such a new and dynamic environment wouldn't be easy for him. She wondered how he would handle the transition, how the pressures and expectations might affect him. The meeting concluded with David offering Michael a spot in a special program designed for high-potential youth. It was an intensive, meant to challenge its participants intellectually, emotionally, and socially. "Think it over," David said as they parted. "It's a big commitment, and we only want you to join if you're ready to take on the challenge." As Michael left the center, his mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. The opportunity was incredible, but daunting. He knew this program could be his stepping stone to a better future, but the weight of expectation hung heavily on him. How would he fit in with the other kids, many of whom came from more privileged backgrounds? Could he meet the high standards of the program? Questions and doubts clouded his excitement as he made his way home. He thought about his family, about his mother who had always encouraged him to seize every opportunity, no matter how intimidating it might seem. He thought about the people in his neighborhood who had settled into the rhythm of hardship and routine. Michael knew that whatever decision he made would not just affect him, but also those around him. His choice loomed large, a defining moment that could potentially change not only his own life, but also inspire others in his community. As the sun set over the city, Michael stood at a crossroads, both literally and metaphorically. The promise of a brighter future tantalized him, but the fear of the unknown held him back. With the city buzzing around him, he realized that the decision he was about to make was about more than just accepting a mentorship. It was about choosing the kind of life he wanted to lead. As the city lights began to twinkle in the twilight, Michael knew one thing for sure: his journey was just beginning, and the next steps he took could lead to places he had only ever dreamed of. Michael's thoughts were a tangled mess as he lay in bed that night, the shadows of his small room seeming to dance with the possibilities and fears swirling in his mind. He was on the brink of a monumental decision, one that could catapult him into a future bright with promise, yet fraught with challenges. He could almost hear his mother's gentle encouragement, urging him not to let fear dictate his path, but the apprehension was palpable. As the new day dawned, Michael decided to walk through his neighborhood, hoping the familiar streets would clear his mind. He passed the local grocery store, the park where he played soccer, and the community center where he often helped younger kids with homework. Each landmark reminded him of where he came from and what was at stake. Meanwhile, across town, Sarah and David discussed Michael's potential over breakfast. "He's got something special, David. I saw it in his eyes, that spark of determination. But he's also carrying a heavy load of doubt and fear," Sarah observed, sipping her coffee thoughtfully. David nodded, understanding all too well the burdens of potential. "It's not just about bringing him into the program. We have to support him, make sure he knows he's not alone in this," he replied, his mind already running through ways to help ease Michael's transition. Back in his neighborhood, Michael bumped into his old soccer coach, Mr. Jenkins, who could instantly tell something was on Michael's mind. After a brief hesitation, Michael opened up about the opportunity and his reservations. Mr. Jenkins listened intently, then placed a firm hand on Michael's shoulder. "Michael, opportunities like this don't come often, but they demand courage. Remember, every big leap starts with a small step, and you're not alone." Heartened by Mr. Jenkins' words, Michael felt a flicker of confidence. But as he continued his walk, he saw his peers lounging on the steps of an apartment building, their days seemingly a repeat of aimless routines. The stark contrast between his potential path and his current environment struck him hard. Could he really make that leap? And if he did, what would he be leaving behind? As these thoughts raced through his mind, another subplot unfolded at the community center. David was setting up a meeting with local leaders to discuss expanding the program to support more kids like Michael. He knew that for every Michael, there were dozens more who needed that same guiding hand. At the same time, Sarah took it upon herself to reach out to Michael's school, proposing a partnership that could provide additional support and resources for students. Her initiative was driven by a deep belief in creating lasting impacts, not just temporary opportunities. The day ended with Michael standing at the park, watching the sunset. The voices of Mr. Jenkins and his mother echoed in his head, mixed with the laughter and shouts of his friends in the background. The choice was his to make, and as the sky turned from orange to a deep twilight blue, the internal conflict within Michael deepened. He was torn between two worlds, each with its own set of promises and challenges. The story of Michael's journey is a vivid tapestry of hopes, dreams, and the harsh realities of life's choices. With the community slowly weaving into the narrative and the various personal stakes rising, the tension in Michael's story builds, drawing the viewer deeper into the unfolding drama, eager to see which path he will choose. As night falls, the unresolved tensions leave us wondering, will Michael take the leap into a new world, or will the pull of the familiar keep him grounded in his beginnings? Yes, Michael stood at the park. The weight of his decision seemed to anchor him to the spot. The laughter and conversations of his friends served as a backdrop to the storm of thoughts raging in his mind. The path before him branched into two, each leading to vastly different futures. One was a familiar road, well-trodden and safe, the other an uncertain path, fraught with challenges but glittering with potential. The days that followed were a blur of introspection and discussions. Michael found himself reaching out to more people, seeking advice, and weighing every word said. He spoke extensively with his mother, who reminded him gently of all the times he had faced challenges head-on, encouraging him to embrace his strength and determination. "You have the power to shape your future, Michael. Remember, fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision," she told him one evening, her words cutting through his doubts with their simple truth. At school, whispers of Michael's possible departure for the prestigious program stirred among his classmates. Mixed emotions surfaced. Some expressed pride and support, while others cloaked their envy and resentment under backhanded compliments and skeptical remarks. Michael felt the shift in dynamics, each interaction adding another layer of complexity to his decision. Parallel to Michael's personal journey, Sarah and David's initiatives began to ripple through the community. David met with local leaders, presenting his vision for a broader support system that could potentially uplift many more youths. His persuasive enthusiasm, backed by Sarah's meticulous planning, began to break down the initial resistance from some community members wary of outsiders' intentions. Sarah, meanwhile, was making significant inroads with Michael's school. She arranged workshops and talks, bringing in professionals from various fields to speak with the students, sparking aspirations and broadening horizons. The school buzzed with a new energy, a sense of possibility that had not been there before. As Michael observed these changes, the broader impacts of his decision became clearer. It wasn't just about what this opportunity could do for him. It was also about how his choice would influence his peers and perhaps even the adults in his community. His success could serve as a beacon, a testament to the power of opportunity and mentorship. The day before he needed to give his final answer to David, Michael visited the community center alone. Walking through the halls, he saw younger kids engaged in learning, their faces alight with curiosity and joy. He saw himself in them, in their hopes and dreams, and he realized the weight of the example he could set. That night, Michael lay in bed, the ceiling a blank canvas upon which his fears and hopes played out in shadow and light. The decision was no longer just about escaping a harsh environment or embracing a world of opportunities. It was about becoming a leader and a symbol of hope for his community. As dawn broke, Michael knew what he had to do. The decision was clear in his mind, crystallized by the sleepless night of soul-searching. Today, he would step forward, not just for himself, but for his family, his friends, and his community. Today, he would choose his path. With his decision made, Michael prepared to meet David. As he walked to the meeting, his steps were firm, his heart full of resolve. The climax of his story was upon him, the moment where his life could change forever. But no matter the outcome, Michael was ready to face it, armed with courage and the support of his community. The tension was palpable as Michael approached the community center, the doors in front of him holding the key to his future. As he reached for the handle, his breath caught in his throat, the significance of the moment gripping him. On the other side of this door lay his future, and with a deep breath, he pushed it open. As Michael pushed open the doors to the community center, a flurry of activity greeted him. The center was buzzing even more than usual, filled with the vibrant energy of a special event. Unbeknownst to him, David had organized a community celebration to unveil the expanded programs that were set to launch, thanks in part to the discussions spurred by Michael's potential involvement. As Michael navigated through the crowd, he spotted David across the room, engaged in a lively discussion with a group of local leaders and influential figures from the community. David's eyes met Michael's, and with a warm smile, he excused himself and quickly made his way over. "Michael, you've come at a perfect time," David exclaimed, his voice filled with excitement. "Let me show you something." Leading Michael to a quieter corner of the room, David presented a large, detailed plan laid out on a table. It was a blueprint for a new educational complex right in the heart of their neighborhood, a project that would provide advanced resources and opportunities for local youth. "This," David said, gesturing towards the plan, "is the future of our community, and I want you to be a big part of it." Michael was stunned. The scale of the project was unlike anything he had imagined. As he absorbed the details, David continued, "Your decision to join the program and the inspiration you've provided have accelerated our plans. We want to build something lasting here, and your story, your journey is crucial to inspiring others." Just as Michael was processing this revelation, his phone vibrated in his pocket. It was a call from his mother, who sounded unusually anxious. "Michael, you need to come home right away. It's your brother, James. There's been an accident." Her voice trembled, cutting through the noise of the celebration around him. The news struck Michael like a bolt of lightning. Torn between his excitement and concern for his brother, he felt a rush of conflicting emotions. His family needed him, yet he was standing on the brink of committing to a future that could transform not just his own life, but the lives of many around him. Apologizing to David, Michael rushed out of the community center, his mind racing as he made his way home. The streets blurred past him, each step heavy with worry for his brother and the weight of the choice he had left hanging in the balance. Arriving home, Michael found his brother with a broken leg, but in stable condition, a relief amidst the chaos. Sitting beside James's bed, the events at the community center replayed in his mind. The new project, his role in it, his brother's accident, it all melded into a poignant reminder of the delicate balance of his responsibilities and dreams. This unexpected twist heightened the stakes for Michael, pulling him in multiple directions as he grappled with his desire to propel his community forward and his duty to his family. The decisions before him grew more complex, weaving a web of personal and communal ties that he could not easily unravel. As the day turned to evening, Michael sat by his brother, reflecting on the intertwining paths of his personal aspirations and his familial duties. Each moment, each choice was shaping not just his future, but also the fabric of his community. The suspense of his next steps kept everyone, his family, his mentors, and his peers, on the edge, all eagerly waiting to see the path he would choose, each aware of the profound impact his decision would carry. In the dim light of his brother's room, as Michael contemplated his next move, a message chimed on his phone, cutting through the silence. It was from Sarah, expressing her concern for James and offering any help she could provide. Alongside her words of support, she shared unexpected news that further complicated Michael's situation. The message revealed that a local journalist had caught wind of the new educational complex initiative and Michael's involvement. Intrigued by his story, a young man from the community potentially playing a pivotal role in such an impactful project, the journalist was eager to cover it. The story would highlight Michael's journey and the potential of the youth in his neighborhood, placing him at the center of a narrative that could inspire countless others. The prospect of public attention was daunting for Michael. He realized that his decision now carried even greater weight, not just for his own future, but for how his community might be perceived by a wider audience. The increased visibility was a double-edged sword. It could bring much-needed attention and resources to the neighborhood, but it could also put Michael under intense scrutiny and pressure. As Michael pondered this new development, another twist unfolded. The local hospital, where his brother was being treated, was facing funding cuts, threatening the availability of necessary services for his recovery and for others in the community. This news struck a deep chord with Michael, intertwining his personal and community-driven aspirations even more tightly. This revelation brought a new level of urgency to Michael's decisions. He saw a direct link between the success of the educational complex and potential benefits for institutions like the local hospital. His role in the project could influence not just educational opportunities, but also critical healthcare services for his family and neighbors. Torn between his immediate family responsibilities and the long-term benefits his involvement in the project could bring to the community, Michael found himself at a crossroads. Each option before him was laden with potential repercussions, both positive and negative, impacting those he cared about in profound ways. The weight of these revelations kept Michael awake long into the night, his mind racing with possibilities and consequences. As dawn approached, he knew he couldn't make this decision in isolation. Gathering his family and closest friends later that day, Michael laid out everything: the potential media coverage, the impact on the hospital, and what his involvement in the project could mean for everyone. The room was tense with anticipation as each person absorbed the stakes of the decision before them. Opinions were varied, each adding layers to Michael's thoughts. His mother, ever supportive, focused on the benefits to the hospital and the community. His friends shared their excitement about the media coverage, but also their concerns about the pressure it could put on Michael. As the meeting drew to a close, no consensus had been reached, but the breadth of perspectives helped Michael frame his thoughts. He realized that whatever choice he made would shake not just his future, but also the fabric of his community. With the stakes higher than ever, Michael prepared to make a decision that would resonate beyond the walls of their meeting place, impacting lives and shaping futures in ways he could never have anticipated. The suspense of his decision hung in the air, a palpable force that held the breath of every person connected to Michael's story. What would he choose? How would this web of personal, familial, and communal considerations influence his path forward? The answers to these questions were yet to unfold, keeping everyone eagerly awaiting the climax of this compelling narrative. After much deliberation, and with the counsel of his loved ones, Michael reached a decision that felt right not just for himself, but for everyone involved. He chose to step into the spotlight, to embrace the role that had been cast for him in the community's new narrative. This decision was not made lightly, but with a deep understanding of the broader impact his participation could have. Michael contacted David and Sarah to confirm his commitment to the educational complex project. They were thrilled by his decision and moved quickly to coordinate with the journalist, setting up a time for Michael to share his story. In that interview, Michael spoke earnestly about his hopes for the project, his aspirations for his own future, and his desire to give back to the community it had raised him. The article was published shortly thereafter, featuring Michael's journey from a thoughtful teenager on a city bus to a key figure in a transformative community project. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with local residents expressing pride and support, and outsiders gaining a new appreciation for potential hidden and underserved areas. With Michael's story now in the public eye, donations and support for the educational complex surged. This influx of resources accelerated the construction of the new facilities and, more importantly, ensured that the local hospital received the funding it needed to continue providing essential services to the community. Michael's decision had set off a chain reaction of positive outcomes that echoed throughout his neighborhood. As the educational complex took shape, Michael took an active role in its development, working alongside David and Sarah to ensure that the programs offered would meet the real needs of the community. He also became a mentor to younger students, guiding them with the same kindness and support he had received from his mentors. Michael's brother, James, recovered fully, bolstered by the improved medical facilities and inspired by his brother's actions. He, too, became involved in the community, working to support the healthcare initiatives that had helped save his life. As the project neared completion, a grand opening ceremony was planned. The community turned out in full force, eager to celebrate the realization of a dream that many had scarcely believed possible. Michael was asked to speak at the event. Standing before his family, friends, and neighbors, he shared his journey, highlighting the collective effort and community spirit that had made it all possible. This center represents more than just bricks and mortar. Michael addressed the crowd, his voice clear and confident. It represents hope, opportunity, and the belief that together we can overcome any challenge. Today, we are not just opening a building, we are opening doors to the future for every young person in this neighborhood. The ceremony was a vibrant affair, filled with performances by local artists and testimonials from community members whose lives were already being touched by the project. The educational complex was not just a success, it was a beacon of change, inspiring other neighborhoods and communities to pursue similar transformations. As the sun set on the day of the celebration, Michael stood beside his family, looking out over the crowd of smiling faces. He felt a profound sense of accomplishment and connection. His choice had led to this moment, this celebration of collective achievement and shared dreams. Reflecting on his journey, Michael realized that the most important lessons he had learned were about the power of decision and the impact of small acts of kindness. His simple gesture on a bus had set his life on a new course, one that would influence not just his own future, but the futures of others in ways he could never have imagined. The story of Michael and the educational complex became a touchstone for the community, a reminder of what can be achieved when compassion and determination meet opportunity and support. It was a story that would be told and retold, inspiring others to take action, to make decisions that ripple outwards, affecting lives beyond their own. As the crowd dispersed and night fell, Michael felt a deep sense of peace. He had faced numerous challenges, made difficult decisions, and navigated complex emotions. But in the end, he had emerged stronger, surrounded by a community united in purpose and hope. His story was a testament to the power of human connection and the enduring impact of caring for one another. With the educational complex as a foundation, the future was bright, not just for Michael, but for everyone who would walk through its doors.